Ad-lib thoughts again. This time I'm thinking about Pulsechain. And as with many things I care about, I have found a lot of times like peace and confidence in trying to understand the downside of something. And one of my concerns that I shared with Hex was about the interest rate. Was it too much? Very quickly, partially because of the feedback I received, decided that I'm not immediately concerned with the inflation rate of Hex and the amount the stakers get. So my mind has, in some sense, moved to Pulse, which is, of course, the Richard Hart fork of Ethereum, also bringing over all of the ERC20s, or most of the ERC20s, at the same time. And again, it is a relatively, there are definitely novel aspects, original aspects to this Pulse chain. And again, there's interesting potential game theory. And where I'm at with it, recognizing, like I'm saying, partially because I see potential value in this, I did sacrifice with what they call sacrifice, basically give tokens for the, they talk about it as free speech, but basically you get your Pulse tokens if you sacrifice them, and that's what I did. So looking at the downside, like I said, part of the reason I'm looking at the downside is because I think there might actually be potential here. I feel like is of things to focus on, it's worth giving Pulse chain some focus. This is one of the things I do when I look at stuff. So I'm sharing this with you. Hopefully this is helpful. And I always want to be open to intelligent, good feedback. Like, I'm not at all pretending or trying to pretend to be some awesome YouTuber or some brilliant person or this amazing, wise man. If my ideas are good, if they're helpful, awesome. If there's a better way I can do it, then I want to do it. I don't have a ton of time. That's why I'm doing it. So I'm sharing it this way. And part of this is an experiment myself. I'm pretty introverted in a lot of ways, and I don't share things with people like this, but I'm doing it anyway. Because I hope that it is able to help people think through things, and worst case, people can just stop watching or something. Anyways, okay, so back to Pulse. My biggest concern, this may be very simple, is the long-term. How will Pulse do in more than one way in the long term? I think the short term, what does short and long term mean? Short term, maybe 2 years. Then after that, I might consider it less short term. Why do I, what about Pulse makes me concerned about it longer term? Some of it comes from my experience in watching EOS, which is another, in a sense, Ethereum competitor. It's a base layer for other applications to build on top of. EOS has gone through a number of iterations, and just recognizing the potential complexity and the need for EOS to iterate over time. Yeah, I think the need for base layer cryptocurrencies to be able to change and improve over time. Creating something like Hex is often, for example, one of the sales points is that the code is written. It's going to be what it is. And I think potentially store of value may be something that you can write code for and let it play out. And the need to improve the code itself over time may not be that great. I think there's a ton, personally, I think there's a lot of improvement still needed in a decentralized base layer to build applications on for the long term. And I do think Pulse is improving on current Ethereum, but I don't know, I'm not convinced that Pulse will be a long-term, it will be a long-term player. And long-term, just for what it's worth for me, is pretty important because I recognize basic realities like crypto is very volatile. And one of the ways that I have felt that I've played the crypto game well is by believing in the projects that I'm investing in. And I intend most of the time to, in my head when I'm deciding to invest in it, I'm asking myself the question, is this something I can hold for 5 years? Is this something also, I ask myself, if in the short term, the macro market acting positively or negatively, if there's a lot of price fluctuation in the short term, is that going to bother me? Which sometimes helps me see I'm just riding a wave, I'm FOMOing into something. Because, if the price dropped, I would be afraid and be like, oh no, this thing never going to come back? But if I believe in the project, then I believe eventually it will come back, and it helps me hold. And I'm asking myself that same question that I feel has, like I said, saved me in the past with Pulse, and I'm not currently convinced in Pulse being the best, which is another topic. I think being the best is massively valuable. You can be the best at a particular niche, and that can be valuable. But if over time, certain base layer cryptos, Ethereum, Pulse, EOS, a long list of competitors out there, over time, there tends to only be one. Like everyone uses Google, everyone uses Facebook, everyone uses Twitter. There's like alternatives to all of those things, but the amount of use that they have compared is so much less. You do have examples of Windows and Apple, which for various reasons are competitors, and they've remained competitive, kind of in a relatively unique way for being an operating system, I think. But it's a little bit off topic too, but Price's law has been very impactful to me, and yeah, that's a different topic, but yeah, that's really all it is. I see the amount of work and focus it's taken from a team to keep Ethereum, EOS, other competitors to what Pulse I think is trying to be going. So the amount of effort and focus that is taken from the core team to keep those things running well, I don't feel that is, I don't think that it's necessarily not the goal. I just don't see that from Richard Hart necessarily, that he's going to be watching Pulse, improving it over time. It's now going to be taking up, it takes, watching people behind other chains, it seems to take all that they can give. And Pulse is going to be a competitor to these things. In the short term, it's solving problems. It's creating potential great opportunity. Will it be able to hold up long term? That's really my question. And I want to be clear, this is a question. This isn't a statement of, I'm convinced of this or something like that. It's a genuine thought that I have concerning Pulse. And yeah, I want to throw this back to you watching this video. Do you have thoughts on this? Do you feel the same way? Is there a reason you feel differently? Is it it's not a problem now, so we'll face a problem, when it is one, we will then, worry about it. There's a million things that could go wrong. Is this even one of those things that you care about? Does it affect your long-term view of Pulse? Anyway, yeah, as always, I'd love to hear feedback on that. And thank you for watching and bearing with me. And I hope you have a great day. Thanks.